Ocarina of Time contained a treasure trove of secrets and countless Easter eggs, some of which were only recently unearthed more than a decade after its release. We here at G-Tier just now scratching the surface of the gold-coated cartridge's many myths, but it's time to shed some light on a murky topic that's been obscured by the mists of time. Back in 1998, Ocarina of Time's launch was apparently not without controversy. According to several sources and still widely cited as fact, Nintendo decided to alter the original Fire Temple theme to remove chanting that resembled a specific Muslim prayer in later versions of Ocarina of Time's code, in response to public outcry from the Islamic community. Nintendo made the highly anticipated release of Ocarina of Time an even bigger ordeal by offering a limited edition gold cartridge for pre-orders. Those not lucky enough to snag a copy were stuck with the standard gray cartridge release. Immediately, players began digging for any differences and initially found none, but over the years, avid fans began to discover that there were several differences between the two cartridges, and then some. It took a while, but these dedicated players pieced together all the variations and constructed a comprehensive log of the multiple versions across all territories. During this process, it was discovered that two versions of the music heard in the Fire Temple existed. A quick search of the internet reveals that the backlash from the Muslim community was the culprit. The story goes that the chanting in the song resembled lines from a Muslim prayer. Concerned parents that heard the song proceeded to contact Nintendo, prompting the Big N to revise the music and issue an updated version of the game. It was a situation eerily similar to the more recent Zack and Wiki and Little Big Planet controversies, so it's possible that this is the explanation. Also, there are some that are posting their own evidence online that claim the chants translate into Arabic and resemble a Muslim prayer, lending further credibility to the myth. In subsequent re-releases on GameCube and Wii's Virtual Console, the Fire Temple music remains altered without the chanting. Not too long ago, an inside source came to GameTrailers to point out something that almost everyone had overlooked for 12 years. We decided to take their information and put it to the test to see if it proved or debunked the popular belief about why the Fire Temple music was changed. Before doing this, though, we want to make a few facts clear. First, the following are the first ever release dates of Ocarina of Time in every major territory. It's also important to note that according to every published guide and log available online, the chanting in the Fire Temple is present in versions 1.0 and 1.1, but altered in version 1.2, and all subsequent re-releases on GameCube and the Wii's Virtual Console. A punch code on the right side of the sticker on the back of the cartridge can help determine which version of the game is inside. With all this in mind, we can proceed with verifying our source's claim. In order to do this, we had to obtain multiple versions of Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, and then use what's called the crooked cartridge trick to access the debug menu of each. The crooked cartridge trick requires you to simply pull the left side of your cartridge up slowly while holding down the right side. We do not condone or accept any responsibility for anyone using the crooked card trick. It could corrupt your save data or render your game unplayable. When the music becomes distorted and Link begins to flicker, stop moving the cartridge and look for a yellow bar to appear in the top left. From there, you can access the game's debug menu by inputting the following commands. If done correctly, a message box in the top left of the screen will appear. Then cycle through the menus by pressing A until you get to the ROM version screen, and check the bottom lines to verify the game's version and when it was completed. We did this on every single N64 version we could get our hands on, the original Japanese version, the 3 North American versions, and the European PAL version. Our findings revealed something truly puzzling. The details are in the numbers. Though the online guides proved accurate, what's odd is that every single N64 cartridge we tested out, whether it had the Fire Temple music or not, gave us a ROM completion date prior to the earliest known release date of Ocarina of Time anywhere in the world. That means the Fire Temple chants were removed prior to the game being made commercially available, period. While it is entirely possible that Nintendo received complaints about the original Fire Temple music after its release, public outcry could not have been the reason for this revision. The likely reason people believed in this rumor is that version 1.2 didn't start hitting store shelves until well after Ocarina of Time's original release in 1998. So why exactly was the Fire Temple's music remixed in the first place? We reached out to Nintendo of America for comment, but originally they declined. However, in the September 2001 issue of Nintendo Power, the editorial staff responded to an inquiry about the Fire Temple music by saying that the creators didn't want to offend anyone and as a result changed the choir effect that sounded like a Muslim chant. Though the response does not actually say it was due to public outcry, it does prove Nintendo was aware of the potential issue, and that lends itself well to the theory that perhaps Nintendo saw the issues coming and preemptively made the change. One other theory that we had is that perhaps the audio effect for the chanting wasn't originally created by Nintendo, but actually part of a stock library. What makes us suspect this is that the chanting heard in the original version of the Fire Temple actually appeared in other games. In the N64 adaptation of Cruisin' World, the same chanting can be heard in the theme for the course called Cairo Cruisin'. What's most telling about this is the fact that Cruisin' World was released on September 26, 1998, almost 2 whole months before Ocarina of Time first came out. Apparently, Nintendo didn't even create the chanting sound effect used in the Fire Temple theme. The same effects apparently also made their way into 2002's Kakuto Chojin Back Alley Brutal for the Xbox, in a track entitled Love Hate Chant. The game was quickly pulled from store shelves after its release, again supposedly due to public outcry from the Islamic community that the chanting resembled lines from the Quran, and the game was never re-released after the recall. While it would probably take a direct statement from somebody involved in the production process of the game's soundtrack to completely verify this theory, the probable nail in the coffin comes from a recent response from Nintendo's customer service department. We inquired about the change, and this time we received a response. This still left us wondering about the sound effects library in question. We were contacted a few months ago by a member of the Zelda Universe forums named Perrin MLS, who directed us towards some of his findings in his search to uncover the Fire Temple chant's true origin. A post in his thread by a member named Kool-Aid then led us to a giant thread over on a site known as HCS64, where a community of fans pooled together their resources to delve deeper into our favorite video game music. What we found brought a smile to our faces. There, we found a detailed catalog of the known sound effects from public libraries used in various video game soundtracks, including the Legend of Zelda series. Here is a summary of some of their findings. Last but not least, the community had unearthed the origin of the infamous Fire Temple chants. Parent MLS originally got in touch with us to reveal the chanting sound effect was included as part of a sound library called Voice Spectral Volume 1 by Best Service. You can actually still purchase this library as a digital download, and Best Service appears to also still be in business. We were able to take a look at the packaging for the physical release, which showed the following credits. However, a copyright or release date was missing, so we decided to track down this final detail. After digging around, we were unable to ascertain the original release date of the album. Instead, we found multiple release dates attributed to Voice Spectral Volume 1. However, what mattered in the end is that some of the releases predated Ocarina of Time. So there you have it. Nintendo never actually created the chanting effect heard in the original version of the Fire Temple theme. And while it was ultimately changed because of the Islamic references, it was not due to public outcry, but rather a preemptive change to avoid controversy.